Okay, Metamaterials. What is there to be excited about now? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. When I first invested into this situation, I invested into it through Torchlight for two reasons. For starters, I invested into it because of the preferred stock dividend. First of all, who is not interested in free money? And obviously, we're still trying to figure out what that amount could be. We gotta wait, but that's another video for another day. The other reason why I was really interested in investing into Torchlight, or in this case Metamaterials, is because I personally was really interested in what Metamaterials has in store for us for the future, and I still am. And hopefully you guys are as well. But anyways, what is going on, guys? My name is Darren Jackson. Welcome back to the channel, and hopefully by the end of this video, you guys can take in some of the facts about Metamaterials that I'll provide for you guys, including this huge rumor that we've all been talking about, with some new information, at least from my part. And you guys can take this information and maybe be more interested in investing into it in the long term and seeing situations like this as more of an opportunity to invest into the company. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get started. So for those of you guys that don't know, metamaterial is a type of film made of woven nanocomposites and nanomaterials that give it some pretty cool properties. It allows it to transmit, reflect, and absorb different types of energy, including light, sound, heat, and even electricity. And with this type of film, which they call nanoweb, it allows them to use it in different multitudes of applications. Now, in previous videos, I've talked about the applications that Metamaterials uses this nanoweb on. I primarily focus on two applications, being automobiles and aerospace technology, which are really cool in their own way. But I'm gonna focus on those a little bit later on in this video. I wanted to focus on two other applications which make up reason number one on why I am so bullish and so interested in investing into metamaterials and holding on to them for the long term. Now, one of those industries is the medical industry. Now, first off, what they're using their nanoweb technology is really cool within the medical industry. They plan on working with companies to produce MRI imaging to make MRI scans a lot more efficient and maybe even a lot quicker. They're working also on a breast cancer screening to hopefully be able to catch signs of breast cancer before it actually becomes a worse situation, which I think can hopefully save a lot of lives. And one thing that I've mentioned in previous videos of something called a glucoweb. Now, a glucometer is basically a quicker and more efficient way to track your level of glucose in your system. So this is beneficial for people that suffer with diabetes. And I would assume for someone that has diabetes, something that is a lot more efficient and quicker in testing and will result in a lot less pain than maybe other signs or ways of testing for diabetes or your sugar level or glucose level may be something that's really interesting to a lot of people. And I do like the fact that they're putting themselves in the position to work in the medical field and hopefully result in technology that could save a lot of lives. Also, if you remember, someone named Kathy Wood is always talking about disruptive technology or disruptively innovative companies. And those are companies that can blur the line between two different sectors. In this case, it's medicine and technology, or like biology and technology, and it makes biotech. On a side note, it'd be really amazing if Metamaterials ends up on an ARK ETF, but that's for another video. Maybe that's something that'll happen in the future. We just gotta wait on that. But the other industry that they're working towards, I'm really excited about, is with 5G. Now, of course, anytime industries come out with a new generation of cellular data, everybody loses their mind and gets really excited because at the same time, new phones are coming out as well. What Metamaterials wants to work on is ensuring that the infrastructure of 5G is as optimal as possible. And there are two things that they're wanting to implement that include what they specialize on, which is glass. The first one's called a reflector. The whole purpose of this is to be able to reflect 5G waves into dead zones, because what seems to be happening right now is that you have a satellite in one area and it will emit these 5G radio waves, but it has to hit an area totally oblivious to where it is. So they install another device that's supposed to take those waves and emit it somewhere else. Now, instead of that, assuming that we're talking about satellites being put towards buildings and stuff like that, they want to emit a type of glass or a type of film on glass that can reflect those waves and go directly towards these dead zones so people in random areas can still hopefully have 5G connectivity. Speaking of glass, another thing they want to focus on is being able to create a type of film or a type of glass that 5G waves can go through a lot more effectively, and they want to use something called a transparent antenna. According to them, 5G waves have a tough time penetrating through glass. So with this transparent antenna that will be emitted onto glass itself, it will give 5G waves the opportunity opportunity to go through a lot more effectively, so us as adults have more of an opportunity to play on our phones or watch Stranger Things on Netflix when we should be working from home, or whatever you do. The point is, it should make 5G network in your actual home within your walls a lot more efficient and a lot faster to access. Now, all in all, I'm really interested in the applications that Metamaterials is working on putting forth. Of course, I didn't mention all of them, so I'll make sure I put a link down below of our presentation that they recently presented that talks about a lot of the things they're working on implementing. But that was just reason number one on why I'm really interested in investing into this company for the long term. Reason number two involves their accessibility, as far as accessibility in investing into the company. Now, the reason I bring up accessibility when it comes to investing into the company, prior to the merger, Metamaterials wasn't the easiest to invest into. Primarily that's because Metamaterials is a Canadian-based company, so you could only invest into it through Canadian-based brokerage apps such as Trading 212. You could also invest into it through other brokerage apps that allow foreign trading, including Fidelity and I believe TD Ameritrade. As of the merger, they were able to qualify to be in the NASDAQ index fund, which is probably the biggest technology-based index fund. Not only does it allow people to invest into them through ETFs such as QQQ, but it also makes Metamaterial more accessible on other brokerage apps, including Robinhood, Webull, and E-Trade if they weren't already. So having that accessibility gives people more opportunity to invest into them, which gives Metamaterial and their board of directors more opportunity to raise more money, which results in more opportunity for the price of shares to go up. So that's really one small nugget that doesn't seem really important right now, but in comparison to what Metamaterials was like accessibility-wise prior to the merger, that's something that you really need to look forward to. Speaking of looking forward to things, we've all been hearing about this rumor between Metamaterials and Tesla, and I even mentioned it on a video maybe a month or so ago about a lot of the things that people are paying attention to, and it is wild. We've heard different things that support this rumor of them working together, including how Tesla and Metamaterials share a similar address in Nova Scotia, and honestly, the weirdest thing I've ever heard is how the Metamaterials logo and the SpaceX logo look really similar. I don't really know what that means. It doesn't seem to prove anything, but I mean, again, they work with glass. So if you're saying they're using metamaterial technology to build a heads-up display for rockets with SpaceX, that'd be dope. But we don't know anything about that. They're just two formats that look the same as far as logo-wise. There is one new thing that actually does hold a decent amount of water to these potential rumors, saying that if this rumor were true, a lot of us may not be as surprised, and that's their connection with a university called Dalhousie. Now, I've mentioned this university again in that previous video, and I mentioned who Jeff Dahn is, who is basically a well-known professor within the battery industry, and he leads a team of students at Dalhousie University located, I believe, in Halifax, Nova Scotia, in creating just more efficient batteries. We all know that with Tesla, their vehicles aren't the cheapest, depending on which one you get and what year you get. And I know one thing they're actually trying to work on is making their batteries more efficient and hopefully making the production process of their batteries a lot cheaper so they can in return make their vehicles a lot cheaper. Some new news that they do have revolve around Jeff Dahn and their relationship with him. So originally their relationship was supposed to end on October of this year, but they actually extended their contract with Jeff Dahn and Dalhousie University up until 2026. So that gives them the opportunity to focus more on batteries and making more efficient batteries for Tesla. The one thing that I actually figured out that was really interesting was how Metamaterials could be involved. So the one thing I looked up was what could Metamaterials, not the company itself, but the actual film itself made of the nanocomposites, be involved with batteries. It's pretty simple. Just the actual 3D printing of it. One thing about batteries right now is that a lot of them can be super heavy. And when it's super heavy, the application and the labor of it could be a bit more expensive. Now, there is a college out there already that has been able to make a battery from 3D printing out of Metamaterials that is a lot lighter. And I'm not a mechanic, but I'm assuming if you're dealing with a battery that's a lot lighter and just as efficient or even more efficient, then the whole labor process could be a lot cheaper. Therefore, the price of the vehicle could be a lot cheaper. So that, as a matter of fact, is one thing that Metamaterials, the company, could be working on with Jeff Dahn and with Tesla. And if news like that broke out, there's a high probability that even though we're all long-term investors and expecting the price to at least reach $10 by the end of this year or this time next year, this could shoot the price up to $50 a share and then some, because anything with Tesla on a positive note will send the price going really high. But obviously there's other things they can implement. Going back to how they work with automobiles, they work with heads-up display. With Tesla, it's a huge computer on wheels, so heads-up display to make it even more safe, and just the technology base of it. Metamaterials also has a lot of other safety features, including defogging and de-icing with their windshields. Another thing Tesla could work on is their safety features. So it makes a lot of sense, but at the end of the day, as we all know, there is nothing clear cut that tells us that Tesla and Metamaterials are working together. So the SpaceX and the Metamaterials logo don't really say much of anything at the moment, except this was a huge coincidence. But we'll have to see. That's just my opinion. But guys, let me know what your opinion is in the comments below. What do you think about Metamaterials on the long term? What do you think about the applications they use, the accessibility of the stock, and this rumor about Tesla and Metamaterials and them potentially working together? If that's the case, what do you guys think the stock price would be if they actually announced that? I'm pretty interested to see what you guys think. But speaking of which, make sure you guys check out some of these other videos, which I hope help you guys on your investing journey as they have in mine. I do appreciate you guys watching, and until next time, take care.